Hi everybody, I'm Josh Earl, one half of the Hoops Guys, and today I wanted to talk a little bit about an element of the collective bargaining agreement that's been talked about a little bit more recently due to a high-profile player being involved in the use of this element. I'm of course referring to the stretch provision, and it's been on the minds of basketball fans and media alike recently because the Detroit Pistons on Monday, December 22nd, used the stretch provision on their highest paid and highest usage player, Josh Smith. But what is the stretch provision? Well, the stretch provision allows teams to waive a player and in the process renegotiate and kind of change the payment schedule for that player's remaining salary. In the previous CBA, any adjustments to the payment schedule were a matter of individual negotiation. But players whose contracts or extensions have begun under this current CBA, when they're waived, the stretch provision is how you readjust the payment schedule. There's a couple things about the stretch provision I'd like to talk a little bit about briefly. First off, the timing of the use of the stretch provision matters. If a player is stretched between July 1st and August 31st, then the remaining salary, counting the current season as well, is stretched. And the stretching process is 2 times the number of years remaining plus 1. So if you had 3 years remaining on your deal and you were stretched within the July 1st to August 31st time period, then your deal and the payment schedule would be stretched over 7 seasons. 2 times the number of years remaining, 3 plus 1. If the stretch provision is used from September 1st through June 30th, then it's the active season, the current season, that salary is paid out as noted in the original contract. And the remaining years are stretched using the same process. So let's say we're talking the same deal as before, a 3-year deal. Well, but it was stretched after August 31st and before July 1st. So the first year, let's say this current season is a $10 million. It's $10 million flat over the next 3 seasons. Well, this current season, that player is going to get paid the $10 million. And the remaining 2 seasons after this season are going to be stretched and would be stretched over 5 years because, once again, the stretch provision means you stretch the remaining years of the contract 2 times the number of years remaining plus 1. And that's what happened with Josh Smith's payment schedule. But there's another element of this that's even more important, and that is a team using the stretch provision has the right, or rather the choice, to also simultaneously stretch the cap hit over the same number of years as the payment schedule. You can see how this could be helpful. For instance, we'll take the Josh Smith scenario. Josh Smith was waived using the stretch provision on December 22nd, so he falls into that September 1st through June 30th time period, which means this current season, the $13.5 million, he's going to get paid that this current season by the Pistons. And that's going to be his cap hit because the Pistons did elect to use the stretch provision on the cap hit as well as the payment schedule. So this year, Josh Smith is going to count for $13.5 million on the Pistons cap, and that's also what he'll get paid by the Pistons. But the next 2 remaining years that were on his contract, which would also be about $13.5 million each, those are now stretched both payment-wise and cap hit-wise over the next 5 years at $5.4 million each season. So Josh is still going to get paid all the money. It's just going to take an extra several years to get all of it. And the cap hit is what's important to remember here, because you go from having a cap hit of $13.5 million next offseason and the offseason after that for the Pistons to having a cap hit of $5.4 million the next 2 off seasons apiece. So you save yourself about a little over $8 million in cap space from using the stretch provision. Of course, this does mean that you put a cap hit on your cap longer term than the actual deal was going to be. So they're going to have a $5.4 million cap hit for the next 5 years after this season for a player who's not playing for them. So that's the drawback, but let's put this in context, because remember, context rules everything around us. The basketball-related income that drives the salary cap and the luxury tax and everything, that's set to grow a lot over the next several years because the NBA's new television deal is going to kickstart in 2016. So while that $5.4 million cap hit is going to be there each of the 5 next seasons, it's going to represent a smaller and smaller percentage of the cap over that stretch of time. And that's part of the reason why the Pistons decided to use the stretch provision on Josh Smith. Hopefully this helped clear up a few things about the stretch provision. If you have any further questions about it, please check out the CBA FAQ by Larry Kuhn. It's fantastic. And feel free to comment below with any specific questions or add your 2 cents to the Josh Smith stretch provision use by the Pistons. And if you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, feel free to give it a thumbs down. If you want to share this video, nobody's stopping you, and we'd appreciate it. And if you want to be notified when our next videos become available, hit that subscribe button. And most importantly, thanks for watching, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Take care.